Hello, everybody. It is Thursday night, a Thursday in July. So that means it must be time for the Snews, SnarkALec News. I am Tony Solo. And with me, as usual, after all, he's my Wonderwall, Mr. Dylan. Hey, Dylan.
Hello, how's it going? Good to be back again here on the Snews. If you snooze, you lose. And joining us today also is one of the greatest podcasters of all time, in my opinion, Mr. Kelly Toole.
From a volume perspective, producing that thing.
So
the other thing Mike did that was a complete jerk move was, oh wait, someone else has just joined us.
Hey!
Hi everybody, I'm Kelly Toole, KELLYTHUL on Twitter. You're saying live on Live 365, loud and loaded. Just want to show I can still do it. And
yeah, it's about time.
And somebody else is here.
That would be Mike. Hi, Mike.
Oh.
Hold on a second. The microphone came unplugged.
Okay. I was gonna ask Mike, when did you change your name to Myrna? Why are you derailing the show?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Mikey, how you doing?
How are you?
Doing well.
Yep. Alrighty. So, what are we doing today? We're doing stuff and things.
Okay, we're doing stuff and things. Well, after we get the usual birthdays, and I gotta shut that off. After we do the usual birthdays, we are going to do. We're going to make a little announcement, and then after that, and there was something I wanted to mention to you guys before we started, but I'll just bring it up live. And then we're going to talk about cult TV shows. So that's what's on the Snews. You know, this show is planned out better than a Prison Break.
So should we be concerned about this thing you didn't tell us about?
No, it's nothing big.
You absolutely should be concerned.
No, it's nothing big. It really isn't. But this show is better planned than a Prison Break, believe me, because I wouldn't have got my ass caught. I would have had a plan freaking B. That's what I'm saying.
That's right. Amen. So, without further ado, let's do some birthdays. So, what's upcoming here? July 22nd is our good friend Jen Hallmeyer. It's her birthday. Also, on July 22nd is the beer goddess herself, the Devil's Milk Queen, Mandy. She will be celebrating with probably a pint or 10. Like she did at the Eulogy Bar. And that's fun for that. The 24th, we've got Turfle. Happy birthday, Turfle. 25th, we've got Midgie Girl. Happy birthday, Lee. I know you're probably watching, so everyone go out there and say happy birthday to Midgie Girl on the 25th of July. This is Tony's favorite birthday of all time. July 28th is Myrna's birthday, so we're all going to have a big party, and we're all going to help her fix her telephone and her computer and everything.
Never, ever happen. Because she'll always find something else to screw around. Ooh, what does this button do? I don't know. Let me touch it.
And then, also on the 28th, we've got our friend Barry Vencedor, who has some very creative imagination. And that's it for July's birthdays. August, here's another good one. August 1st. The bald man himself, Mr. Scotty McDonald. Happy birthday to Scotty on August 1st.
Happy 70th in advance, Scott.
Yeah, I think he would take offense at you calling him bald. I think he's just what do they call that? Challenged.
Follically challenged.
Follically challenged, exactly.
Okay, sorry, Scott. Follically challenged. I wore this shirt just for you, my Bigfoot shirt. And August 3rd is the birthday of one of my co-hosts on Dylan Knows, Jerry Fletcher. Her birthday is August 3rd, so happy birthday, Jerry. Oh, wow. And then August 9th, we've got Tammy LaRock. Happy birthday to Tammy. And Mikey will be happy about this because he'll be heading out to Wisconsin to celebrate with August 10th, Helena McGevna. So Mike's side piece.
You're going to be coming out, you're going to bounce out of a cake for her there, Mike? It's going to be... I'd pay American money to see that. Cash money.
You change that to yen and you got a deal.
That's probably wise.
And finally, our last birthday till the next snooze is our friend Pacifico's birthday is August 11th. So those are the birthdays for July and August till the next snooze. And now back to Toady.
Well, I'm gonna hand it off back to Kelly because Kelly had an idea because we've got a special, I don't want to say event coming up, but
Kind of is.
Yeah, it's kind of, but I'm not gonna say anything else, but I am just going to hand it over to Kelly and let him do the talking.
Okay, well, and I also, as the show started, I shot out a link, put snooze on it as a hashtag that kind of recaps what I'm going to talk about here so far. And it's a work in progress, but got pretty excited. We've been starved for original sci-fi movies. They show up every once in a while, but not nearly often enough, especially when we used to all be able to get together and watch them on Saturday nights, and that's a good time. So found out, around Sharknado 3, Oh Hell Knows, coming out on the 22nd of July, and then Sci-Fi did something interesting. They loaded up a bunch of other movies around it, so you basically have almost a solid week of snarkable movies. And so I thought it would be a really great chance for all of us to kind of reconnect different ways. So we've all got fun things going. We've got the Bring Out Your Geek that Gene's hosts that talks about movies and TV shows and comics and all that stuff. We've got Dylan Knows. So is it the greatest video cast? Is it just the greatest?
Greatest show of all time.
Just the greatest show. We don't really know about the greatest show of all time. Dylan Knows on weekly. Mike's been doing his fireside chats available on iTunes and Podbean, I believe. Tony and Dylan doing the snooze, and Mel and I, of course, doing nurture and support. So with all those things going on, I thought, how cool would it be if, as much as we can, 15 minutes after the 9 o'clock Eastern movie ends, about 15 minutes after that, one of these shows came on and talked for about 15 minutes about the movie, tweets that night and whatever, and then kind of, promoted the next show that was going to be on. So it gives all the shows a chance to kind of connect, share their audiences a little bit, gives all of us a chance to connect. And so I thought we'd do a little thing called Snark Week. And so Snark Week will start actually July 18th, a doubleheader on a Saturday. And I'll give you the central times. Yeah, we're gonna come. We got to talk about Tony's circumstances here in a second. But on Saturday, July 18th, it starts off with Robo Shark and Mega Shark versus Colossus back to back. The next day, on Sunday, Sharktopus versus Werewolf.
That's
Werewolf. That is not easy.
You want to say werewolf, don't you?
I thought I typed it as werewolf. It never said. Then Monday, 3-headed shark attack, one better than 2-headed shark attack. Zombie Shark is the second show. It's another doubleheader. Then we get Tuesday off to recover. Wednesday, Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No. And then I'm a little unclear, but I'm fairly certain, and this may be good news, Tony, but depends on kind of how it works out for you. I believe that Lavalantula, which is lava-breathing tarantulas, is going to actually air on Saturday, July 25th. And Lavalantula, I didn't know this until I was kind of getting the post put together, is done by Mike Mendez.
Yes.
Big-ass spider fame. So,
yes.
So it's going to be awesome. Now, so cool. So we're going to try and divide it up. After one of these shows, Dylan Knows will go. There'll be a nurture and support. Mike will do a fireside chat. I know Jeans from Bring Out Your Geek would really, really love to do it after Lavalantula, and Mel has always been a Sharktopus fan, so although she's, I don't know what she thinks about the Whalewolf, so we'll have to see. So maybe Nurture and Support lines up that day. We'll work out the details there. I'll keep updating a blog and give you a list so you know who's going to be on what night, and we'll all kind of tweet. Use hashtag Snark Week, and it should be a really fun time to all get together.
Absolutely.
So that's the plan.
And you said Monday there's 2 movies, right?
2, yes.
Okay. So there's 2 nights so far with 2 movies. We've got The first night, which would be the
18th, yeah.
the 18th. Okay, so roll it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 movies so far scheduled. 6 with Sharknado 3, right? And
Right.
then 2 more movies that we don't
I think just
know
one,
about. Oh, is it just one? Was it just La Valentula?
just Lavalanche, because I think that comes to 7 total, and they talked about 7 movies.
Okay. So 7 movies. 7 movies is about 2.5 to 3 months worth of Saturday movies in 1 week. In 1 week. And we were speculating about this yesterday because Thursday is wrestling, so Sci-Fi wasn't going to mess with wrestling. And then on Friday nights they have Defiance, Dark Matters, and Killjoys, or Killjoys and Dark Matters if you want to be in the right order. I'm not going to be here for any of this stuff. I am going to miss the whole enchilada. I'm going to be away. But I may be home in time to see Lava Lantula.
Lavalanche, which would be a pretty good one. I mean, looks like there's some fun here, but that sounds like a pretty good one.
Well, if Mendez is involved, there's got to be a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on there. So that looks like a fun evening.
And also the fact that La Valentula has 3 members of the original Police Academy movie, and Gutenberg, Michael Winslow, and Leslie Easterbrook is fantastic too.
The Academy Award-winning Police Academy series.
So what I wanted to throw out there, and you guys can speak about it amongst yourselves or try and figure out something, but maybe for Sharknado 3, everybody change their Twitter avatar to something that's the same, or maybe go ahead and do another Gerald Webb thing, even though we did it before to try and help him get verified. But just
which happened.
Which did happen, and it was all because of the stuff that we did. It had nothing to do with Kelly making a couple of phone calls to the people at Twitter. Nothing to do with that. Kelly had
Not only did it have nothing to do with Kelly, I'll actually take full responsibility for it.
Well, how can you wait? How could you take? I was about to take full responsibility. How could you do that?
I beat you to it because I mean the main thing is we all know Kelly had nothing to do with it.
Okay,
we can all agree on that.
We can all agree that Kelly had nothing to do with that happening. But yeah, just so maybe the SnarkALecs stand out. You know, everybody having a uniform Twitter avatar, or you know, everybody just, you don't want everybody to be an egg because that looks retarded, but you know, have
maybe
people
a picture of Kelly.
That would be bad.
We should do a picture of Tony in celebration
That's
of
right, in
Tony not
absence.
being here.
In absence. There you go.
No, don't do that. That's I was actually thinking maybe everybody do like a version of Gerald Webb, because there's so many different pictures of Gerald Webb out there. Like when we did it the last time, there was you know,
The straight pimpin' one, which is my favorite.
Yeah.
He was wearing.
but I mean, it was so cool because it was the same guy, and everybody had the same guy as their avatar picture, but they were all different. So it's not like they were all the same. But I mean, figure out, and hey, I'm going to tell you guys, leave me out of it because I'm not going to be here. I'm only going to be here for another couple of days. I'm out of here next Wednesday. So I'm going to be out next weekend and all of the following week.
Now
So
that's a drug muling kind of thing, right?
listen, my daughter graduated high school. College is expensive.
That's right.
It's true.
You got to do what you got to do, you know? Hey.
Is this a cavity heavy drug muling situation, or you?
You want to know something? Have you ever seen those sumo wrestler suits?
Familiar? Yes.
Okay, so I am going to look like that when I
Would you
come back, because I'm going to be a morbidly obese man trying to cross back into the United States when I'm done with this little trip. and I'm just hoping that it's one and done.
Actually, you know what? I just came up with something, and let me throw this at you guys. How about Hasselhoff? Everybody have Hasselhoff as their icon because he's the one who's doing it.
You want to know what would be better? SpongeBob. SpongeBob would be better if everybody changed to a different version of SpongeBob, because he was also in the SpongeBob movie, the last one, not the most recent one.
Yeah.
We could also do just hashtag free Gerald Webb and try and start some sort of rumor that Gerald's been incarcerated.
Well,
So
apparently,
obviously this story has to involve Kelly. So Gerald and Kelly were arrested doing what?
So we'll think about figuring something out. That's a good idea, though.
Hey, I know the answer to this one. I want to ask Tony just and said, Myrna would like me to repeat everything I just said because she joined late.
sure. Go ahead.
Myrna, there's a link out there. It says must read. So follow those directions and read it. And it covers everything. But the good news is we're going to have a lot of our shows.
I'm just going to say 2 words, Myrna. Male nudity. That pretty much sums it up.
Kelly was going to tell us about the fashion show he was involved in where he was wearing the assless chaps, and he's going to post pictures later tonight.
You know what, though? It was tasteful.
Hey, Tony, didn't you have something else you were going to share?
No, not really.
That whole assless chaps thing. It's quite a disappointment if that was the...
Not really. But if anybody has any ideas, you can hit me up or hit Kelly and Dylan and Mike up because. So did you guys want to try and work out a schedule tonight? Were you going to do anything? And publish it?
I think we'll just bounce emails back and forth across the teams. I did, on the post I put out there, I did put tentative markers for Bring Out Your Geek on Lavalantula and for the Shark, Sharktopus, did Nurture and Support because that was kind of a mel, but which unfortunately for the rest of the shows leaves the 2 double header days, so some big viewing there, and Sharknado. So,
yeah.
But we can. That's all tentative. We'll keep talking, and we'll just keep updating and let people know. And then when that week comes, we'll use the hashtag Snark Week, and we'll say, hey, tonight after tonight's movie, tune in at 11:15 Eastern for Dylan Knows, and he's talking about Robo Shark or whatever. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and
I like it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna disappear off Twitter for maybe 10 days, and when I pop back up, I'll pop back up, which means I'll probably have 10,000 mentions and where did I put that stupid phone? 10,000 mentions.
I unjustly accused Myrna of.
Yes, and she claims it was Scott McDonald.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look. I thought it was her. Whatever. Let's see.
That's all right. That's right. Myrna's going to try and derail the show at some point this evening anyway. Just like that happened at the beginning there. So that's about it. If anybody has any suggestions about that,
Kelly, are you open to the assless chaps thing again?
For
Snark Week.
No.
I thought he said it was just a one and done.
No. No for open to it, and no for again.
That didn't really happen. That really didn't happen. But I did read them our texts from today, Mike. But that was before the show started.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Anyway.
So if everybody, now that everybody knows the schedule, so it's not next week, it's the week after that is Shark Week on Sci-Fi. So let's get that clear. It's starting on the 18th, and that's the Saturday before. Is that the Saturday before or the Sunday? That is
Saturday.
the Saturday. So from Saturday to Saturday, almost every night there's going to be at least one new movie, and we're guessing Thursday and Friday would be exempt from that because of the wrestling that Sci-Fi carries, and
And we
again,
believe Tuesday is probably going to be Sharknado, the original.
well, yeah,
That's
that's the only night there isn't a new movie at 9 o'clock at Sharknado, and I'm guessing I didn't look at the schedule, but I'm guessing on Wednesday it'll be Sharknado 3 at 9, but Sharknado 2 preceding that at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
So
that is the case. That's what I saw when I looked at the schedule today. So.
yeah, because Sci-Fi only posts their schedule 1 week at a time on their website. They used to do it 2 months in advance. Now they only do it a week ahead at a time that they let you see anyway. So that's about it for Snark Week. We're going to call it Snark Week officially now.
I think so.
I like it.
Snark Week.
Snark Week.
Yes, which is awesome. So, which leads us to our next topic. Someone wants to. Who is that? Excuse me, but is the schedule in the report? No, there is no such thing as the report anymore, Lee. We don't. There is no report. Because being on the report is a bad thing, and just having a report is a bad thing, and then having things not on the report actually puts them on the not on the report. So we're not going to have any more reports.
Too damn much work.
Yeah,
right there, man.
Yeah. Because we had,
track of that.
yeah, there's 2 reports. There was the report, and then there was the report that had things that didn't go on the report. So that was another report, and then you'd have to have another report for the report of the report that's not on the report. And at that point, you might as well just have 3 more beers and go to sleep. So, a little background on our next topic, which is cult TV shows. Yay! I was watching the show. Have you watched Jericho, Mike, or you're just familiar with Skeet?
I'm just a huge Skeet Ulrich fan, as most people are.
Exactly.
So.
And so, did you watch the show, or did you just become aware of it because you were like,
I'm just aware of it because of Skeet.
Okay. Skeet has been called the poor man's Johnny Depp. And I think Mike just...
A name like Skeet, yeah. I get that.
So he was in a show called Jericho, and or Jericho had a guy named Skeet in it, depending on which way you wanted to look at it. Anyway, Netflix is great. It was recommended to me on Netflix based on what I watch, and post-apocalyptic stuff, limited nuclear war in the United States, a town in Kansas survives. Good show. I watched it on Netflix, and I was looking to see if there was any more information on the show, if they did anything after that, and I found a list of cult TV shows that I kind of agreed with and disagreed with, but that led me to discovering that Doctor Who was on Netflix. So I'd never watched Doctor Who since I was a kid, okay? And when I was a kid, Doctor Who was kind of ridiculous, because, I mean, you watch the original Star Trek, and then you watch Doctor Who, and Doctor Who was bad sets with bad, the Daleks. I mean, to this day, the Daleks still have an appendage that is a plunger for all intents and purposes, except it looks a little bit less like a plunger than the actual plunger that it was in the original series that was in black and white. When they wanted to show a ghost, they just hang some cellophane in front of the camera and stuff. So I started watching Doctor Who because it was on a list of cult TV shows. So I thought, hey, maybe Dylan and I could talk about cult TV shows and, which ones we've seen, whatever. And then the Cult King Mike was going to be on with us tonight, and Kelly is before the
Cult
show started.
Queen.
No,
No.
he's actually the emperor of cults because he
Cultania.
was, yeah. He brought up a couple of shows. I was like, yeah, you want to know something that deserves to be on a list. So we're not going to go through a list. We're not going to do that kind of crap. But the first thing I thought we should do is maybe discuss amongst ourselves what we thought a cult TV show was like.
Basically anything Skeet Ulrich was in.
Okay, so we've got Jericho.
There's
That's one defining piece. But
He was also in a show called Miracles.
Yes, he was.
not
familiar.
So does that make that a cult TV show?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't qualify.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
so-
sorry, Mike. It doesn't.
No, it's definitely a cult TV show.
So where I would go, my definition is for cult TV shows: one, it's a television show. So
That's a good start.
That's a good
Okay,
start.
so I'm
It's
gonna
a
write
solid
that
base.
down. So it's
Part
got to be
one,
a TV show.
It's a television show, and two, it's liked by a cult. So these would be the two parts. And Mike, while it's close, you're not a cult. You are a cult member. You're a member of many cults, but as a standalone, you are not a cult. Which I
So
think
here's the reason Miracles is a cult show. After the show was canceled, there was a big backlash from the 5 of us who watched it.
And did one of you actually write a letter?
Well, no. What people did, and this was apparently encouraged by someone on the show, was they wrote "God is nowhere" in something that was supposed to look like blood on letters and send them in to the network. And they were inundated with thousands of these. Somehow that didn't change their mind.
but it clearly makes you guys a cult. So
It definitely makes it a cult, though.
yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about this a little bit before the show because I think Star Trek was the first show that was ever the original series that was saved by the fans, at least for a short time, by a letter writing campaign. And back then, it wasn't like Slack division you can do now is just, oh, somebody retweeted like save continuum. Oh, I'll retweet that. In some cases that does work, but I mean it shows a lot more for someone to actually take a piece of paper and put ink on it, whether you print it or write it out and put a stamp on an envelope and
If you
mail
really
it to
meant
someone.
it, you'd use your own blood.
Yeah, or blood. Yeah, ink or blood.
Yeah, just send your DNA along with it too. Now, I mean, if you think about it, you see, now we're thinking about sending our DNA where, 20 years ago you wouldn't think, yeah, let's send it in blood.
I think
So
I speak
cool.
for most of us here when I say I've left DNA a lot of places.
And there's, and it doesn't have to be your blood because there are plenty, there's
Right.
plenty of places you can get blood.
or other people's DNA. Let's just why bring it down to just blood, So we had this list, and Mike, you joined us after the show started, so we're just going to use the list as a jump-off point.
Sure.
I know you didn't have a chance to take a look at it, but just take a quick glance at it, see if there's anything on there that you think doesn't belong. I mean, we talked about it yesterday.
There's a lot of stuff that I think doesn't belong on this list.
Right, exactly. Like on that particular list is Game of Thrones, not a cult TV show. It's part of it's too mainstream, I think.
I mean, The Simpsons is on here, which has been on for like 25 years.
Right, The Simpsons. Well, you see that list now. It came from a website called Ranked, and you could actually thumb things up and thumb things down, so it's supposed to be a living list. So there's a lot of crap on there. That there is one show on there, and it's all the way at the bottom, called Dollhouse. Now that I would consider to be a cult TV show because it did have a following. Okay, it had Eliza Dushku in it, and it had enough of a following that they brought it back for a final season because it wasn't doing well in the ratings, and they let the show come to an end. They finished it. They brought it to a swift end, but they finished it. But it did have a very big following. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is that a cult TV show, or was that too mainstream?
Tough. It's tough because I mean, the first couple seasons when it was crazy low budget and they were shooting on what looked like a first generation digital camera, then sure it was a cult show. But as the show continued and got bigger, and I don't know.
I mean,
At what point? Well, here's the question then. I think at what point does something go from being a cult TV show to not being a cult TV show anymore?
Well, again, now there's a couple of shows on the list like Buffy or X-Files. Now, X-Files was definitely a different show at the time, but it was really, really popular. I mean, it was. Go ahead, Dylan.
not at the beginning like Buffy, like Mike was saying with Buffy. X-Files at the very beginning it was a horrible Friday night slot, and it was not doing at all very well. But the Fox, for whatever reason, they liked the stuff they were seeing from the fans out there, which could be considered a cult type of TV show. And so they said, you know what, why don't we try it on a different night? Let's try it on a Sunday night. And when it moved to Sunday, I guess maybe third season, third season, somewhere around there, that's when it started taking off, and that's when the ratings started skyrocketing a little bit. So that first season was on a Friday night, was really hard to get anything going with it. A lot of people thought it was going to be done and over with, but there were people out there that hadn't showed enough interest in it that they said, let's try, and Fox showed enough interest in it that let's give it one last shot and see what happens if we move to a different night, and it skyrocketed from there.
So there's one that I just noticed on here, the Twilight Zone. And I'm talking original series now because they have had other versions that came out after. Is that a cult TV show or something that has just stood the test of time?
See, I was surprised to see it on there.
To me, Twilight Zone is a little bit more mainstream, whereas I would say The Outer Limits was a cult show.
Okay. You see, now The Outer Limits, because it was, that you had to go seek out. But and that's what I think that, like, it's almost as if a cult TV show has to be sought out. Like, you have to go look and find it, and not be on one of the major networks. And when I say major networks, I'm not talking about Fox, ABC, NBC, or CBS. I'm talking about WB, the CW, whatever those little crappy networks are, and then some of the cable outlets. BBC has a number of shows that could be considered cultish. I mean, is Doctor Who a cult show?
So let me advance kind of my Professor Jeff Foxworthy theory on cult shows. So if you have people who can quote movie lines from individual shows, you might be a cult TV show. If your cult show is on a number on the cable station that's over 4,000, you may be a cult TV show.
Okay.
So
Now, I noticed there is one show on here. Have you guys ever heard of this? Hold on, let me find it. Seinfeld?
I've never heard of that show, and I don't.
I think he's a magician. Or theory. Yeah, so
Not a cult show.
yeah, but I mean, it's real interesting because Mike made the point about, at some point when you transition from being a cult show to just being popular. But, like if there were a group of people that like to wear lampreys as belts, and that was their thing, and they're like, I just like to wear a lamprey as a belt. That's my thing. That would be a cult to me, if you're the lamprey wearing cult. So they're there. If there got to be like a lot of them, if over 60% of the people in the United States, I don't think we just go, oh, that's normal now, or would we?
Well,
I mean, is it a numbers thing?
Yeah. Well, Laura brings up a good point, and it might be another way of defining a cult TV show, because Buffy pretty much had more viewership in reruns than it did during some of its first run stuff. So that was one of the shows. I guess it did become popular, but people caught up with it later, and that's one of the things that doesn't happen anymore with TV, where a show really doesn't get a chance. They'll put it out there, and it'll be up for about 6 months, and if it doesn't do well, it's gone, and they've already got some sort of replacement for it. But Dylan mentioned it earlier. X-Files was strange because it started out in a Friday night time slot, and then they moved it out of there, and it did better. Usually when you're a show and they move you into a Friday night, that's where they put you to die, because Friday is the least watched night of TV in the country. That's a well-known fact. Even in the wintertime, Friday nights have historically a little bit lower viewership than the rest of the week. But Fringe is definitely a cult type TV show. That show was teetering every year that it was on, and they finally said, okay, we're going to put it to rest because it wasn't doing what they wanted to. And yes, people still quote Fringe and go crazy when they see the actors in other shows. But yeah, I think if something, if it's known in the mainstream, I guess it can't be a cult, because
I guess, but here's again, it goes back to defining a cult, because a lot of these things that we see on here on this list, a lot of them are shows that they might have a specific following. Yeah, they might have done very well, but after they have been canceled or have been moved on or whatever, it's still being talked about. Like, there's conventions. Like Firefly is a good example. Firefly, you can totally recommend that as a cult show because it was only one season, and that goes into the level of a cult show which was canceled before its time was up. Firefly is one of those. Twin Peaks is another one, I believe, and I don't know if you want to.
I was just about to jump in with that, and I was going to say I think you're definitely onto something, because that's the way it is with Twin Peaks, as you know. Within the past couple of weeks, I've downloaded 3 Twin Peaks tribute albums, tribute albums to the soundtrack of a show that's been off the air for almost 25 years. That's it, like you're saying, it's the devotion that you have to it. Whereas Seinfeld, you're inundated with that. It's around all the time. It's always on reruns. It's always I'll sit down and watch every episode of Twin Peaks, though, probably as soon as we get off.
And then getting back to what you asked, Tony, about is Doctor Who a cult? Well, then that's sort of similar, because then you've got, it is a very well-known show. It's very popular, yeah, but at the same time, it's lasted 50 years, give or take a break of about 20-some years in there, but there's still conventions about just Doctor Who stuff. There's still people who cosplay as these characters, and maybe that's why on this list you see some of these shows up there, because everybody knows they might have specific conventions about these specific shows, like a Quantum Leap. Now, Quantum Leap was about, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 seasons, something like that. So it was moderately popular, but I know they've had a few Quantum Leap cons where people who like the show after it's been over have come out and have done, as you said, Mike, tributes. They have pictures that they painted or T-shirts that they made up, and even though it was not. And it was on mainstream. It was on NBC. It was teetering on the ratings, but still, it lasted about 5 or 6 seasons. It lasted a good amount of time, much like Fringe did. It was teetering like that. And now everybody is, they have these little Quantum Leap cults, or not cults, Quantum Leap cons, or Fringe cons out there now. So maybe that's sort of. And that's sort of maybe what Twilight Zone is, because, and once again, that's Twilight Zone. Everybody knows Twilight Zone, but I'm sure there's also what is one of sci-fi's most popular marathons? It's a Twilight Zone marathon. People love watching the Twilight Zone marathon, and this is a show that's been out for 50+ years also, and they're still interested in watching it. So does cult mean that even if it's a popular show, just say like a Seinfeld, that now years later, after it's been off the air, dead, buried in dust, whatever, even though with the advent of reruns and stuff like that, syndication, you're still able to watch them, people are still celebrating these shows 10, 20 years after they've aired. Is that the definition of a cult, maybe?
Well, see, I think we might have to draw a line at a point with. I'm going to use Doctor Who because it's a perfect example. It's one of those shows where I think just about everybody has heard about it and might be aware of it, but there is a cult following of fans for that show. Orphan Black is getting close to that because I mean a lot of people may have heard it, and particularly because of the acting that is in that show with the one actress playing so many different characters. Not to the level of Doctor Who, because I think Doctor Who and maybe Star Trek, especially the original, is one of those things that people are aware of, and maybe even more than aware of with the new movies with Chris Pine and the new reboot, but people are aware of it even though they may not be watching it. There's some shows that, I mean, Jericho, I'm sure that there are some people that will say, I love that show, and a lot of people is like, I've never even heard of that, you know, and Jericho feels more like a definition of a cult TV show. Firefly, more of a definition of a cult TV show. Not to exclude Doctor Who, because Doctor Who's got a following, a very loyal following, and I think that's part of the definition, an extremely loyal following. Would Kelly put that in his definition of a cult?
Yeah, I would. It's the popular. So it's like, because I don't view Seinfeld as a cult. I view it as it was a popular show. Yes. I don't think there'll be a SignCon. I don't think it's happening anytime soon. I mean, people do callbacks to Soup Nazi and that kind of stuff like that, but that's more catchphrases than really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if anything, Seinfeld to me feels so saturated into pop culture. It's the exact opposite of a cult show to me.
Yeah. But my puzzle question for the day is: do you think that they print actual calendar dates on a Quantum Leap con program? Think about that.
When am I supposed to be at hall number 321?
Or not? Be the most confusing conference ever. So
it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and I think I agree with that. You know, Cheers is on this list also. I don't find Cheers as a cult film, a cult TV series at all.
I mean, this is overly simplifying it, but if you boil it down to say, like, I could walk up to a random person and start talking about Seinfeld, and they'll at least know what it is. I can't walk up to a random person and start talking about Pushing Daisies and even get a vague response from them.
I want to see you walk up to somebody and talk about Pushing Daisies with them. I just think it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Okay, so let's Breaking Bad, extremely popular show.
Only the last season and a half.
Okay, but I think Breaking Bad might fit into the cult arena only because there was a lot of word of mouth from people, and people were able to go back and catch up. And AMC is great about, you know, doing the marathon thing leading up to the start of a new season for a show. And I pretty much did that. When it got near the end, I knew it was ending. I did a lot of catching up. And it really was a great show. And that could almost put it into that genre.
Well, maybe there's like a level, you know, like I was talking about with X-Files, maybe one of those that starts off as a cult show, but due to word of mouth or whatever, it leads to better things.
Right. So, using our definition of a cult TV show, I'm going to take Lost and say it's an anti-cult show, because
People
um,
left.
people at the end, people were
Yeah.
like, "Really? You're kidding me? That's the way it's going to end? Oh, you got to be effing kidding me!"
That's the way I felt about the end of Showgirls at first. But then on repeated viewings, you really realize the deeper esoteric issues that they're touching on.
Um, so if Joss Whedon is involved in a show, does that automatically make it a cult TV show?
Not after Avengers.
Um, okay, so but because a lot of the stuff that he did previous or prior to falls into that cult TV show because he likes to use the same people over and over and over, and in all
If
of
I
his
had Nathan Fillion in my stable, I would use him over and over as well.
Or in your basement, or in
My basement tied to a radiator. What's up, Nathan Fillion? You want to come on up Fireside Chats?
your guess who's my guest again this night?
The Avengers. There's Dark Shadows.
I love Dark Shadows.
Okay. Now, Dark Shadows, a lot of people weren't aware of that until Johnny Depp made the movie.
I hate the Johnny Depp Dark Shadows.
Except for there's one part of that movie that Kelly loves.
That's right.
Where he's got Alice Cooper.
Woman. So the Alice part was redeemed it for me because they actually took the Ballad of Dwight Fry, the story in the song, and connected it reasonably well to the movie. So I was like, well, there you go. So
What really frustrates me about Dark Shadows is, well, first off, ignoring the fact of what they're doing to the legacy of Dark Shadows. When you're watching it, you start to lament how good Tim Burton used to be as a filmmaker, how Johnny Depp used to be a great actor until he became variations on one pirate character. But what really bothers me is there's points in the movie where it really clicks and seems to work, and they seemingly in the very next scene will do their best to undermine that and make you hate it.
I'm on the fence with Johnny Depp because he's either a really great actor or he goes out of his way to play these really strange roles because he just sucks.
I agree. He's played the same character now for a long time.
Starting with Edward Scissorhands. I mean, he's gone from one character to the next. Has he ever played anybody somewhat normal? Was he normal in Gilbert Grape? Was he normal in anything he did?
so
Scissorhands,
even Mordecai, I did not see this. Mordecai was one of his, right?
Yeah.
Was that at least a different character? One like.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it's similar to some of the stuff that he's been doing. It's an off-the-wall character. There's that one movie he did with Angelina Jolie where he was like a normal guy, and then there was the I forget the name of that one. It's like the Passenger or something like that. It was some sort of weird spy type film, and then there was that one Out of Time,
Tusk.
I think. Tusk? Was he in Tusk?
Yep.
Okay.
He's the cop in Tusk. You can tell because he's the guy who's acting like Johnny Depp in the pirate movies, but without the wig.
I think though, Mike, you're gonna be. I think he might get redeemed a little bit. He's got a film coming up in the fall, which is a crime drama thing where he's playing like a mobster type guy. He's been getting lots of good. I don't remember the name of it right now, but the trailer that they showed has been getting a lot of buzz and word of mouth saying, Johnny Depp's back and he's showing.
I hope so. Honestly, I was a really big Johnny Depp fan.
And and I think with Burton, what he's got to do is, I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but Burton, what he needs to do is he got off.
Stop casting his wife and Johnny Depp.
Well, he's divorced now, so he's not going to do that anymore.
Stop casting his ex-wife and Johnny Depp.
But he's got that. Did you ever see Big Eyes? I haven't seen Big Eyes yet. That was sort of a return to his Big Fish, Ed Wood era. I haven't seen that one yet. And then he's doing the adaptation of the Miss Peregrine's School of Peculiar Children, which might be pretty good. with no Johnny Depp or Helena Bonham Carter in sight. So
So far. Let's not get our hopes up. They'll both
And
be there.
Johnny Depp is going to be playing Betty White in the Betty White story, which is also coming out.
And there he goes, playing another strange off-the-wall character.
That's right.
I mean, he's just playing into type again.
He sounds exactly like his pirate character.
Yeah.
So, Mike,
No, honestly, I thought Johnny Depp was great in so many movies. And then him and Tim Burton, I guess, just hit this thing where they're like, let's just make the same movie over and over again. No one will notice. I noticed Tim Burton.
if there was anything, any show that you would put on a list of cult TV shows, other than the couple that we've kind of touched upon, do you have any that you could think of that might be considered a cult TV show? And
yeah, I don't know if this would. I mean, because there's not a huge following about it anymore, but it was a film that goes into a TV show rather that goes into that, I think, canceled before its time. I don't know if any of you saw The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. With Bruce
I
Campbell.
absolutely love that show.
That's good.
Tony, you ever see that?
I have not.
It's
You
Bruce,
need to.
Yeah, it's Bruce Campbell doing an old-fashioned Western, but with sci-fi elements to it. And it was phenomenal. It was amazing.
So good, yeah.
Was that almost like the Wild West, like almost
It was a variation of that. It was like I forget who was the showrunner and the producer, director of it. I don't think it was Raimi, but it was their way of wanting to do something similar to Wild Wild West, but at the same time not falling into the same traps that Wild Wild West had, or following the movie that Will Smith made with Kevin Kline.
Which was so good.
Yeah, but you want to know something? If they were to bring back a steampunk show like that now, they could probably do it so much better than it was done in the past.
Briscoe County was so good. You really need to see it, Tony. That was a great show.
I wonder if it's on Netflix. See, that's why I bring this crap up, because I find stuff to watch. Because right now, Netflix, anything that's post-apocalyptic, yes, they will recommend it to me. And not that I have a problem with that, but I want to kind of branch out from that just a little bit.
I don't know if this would qualify as a cult show, but are any of you, I'm obsessed with it still, Unsolved Mysteries?
Yeah, I'll watch it.
With Robert Stack?
Yeah, you watch it all the time also, yeah.
I have the DVDs, and I'll rewatch the DVDs of the show.
I've seen the show. I mean, that's almost like In Search of with Leonard Nimoy.
Yes, it's a lot like that.
And if you flip through,
with Robert Stack.
Yes,
so totally
I think it was they were on at the same time. Whenever someone comes out with a show, and one of the other networks comes out with the same show, and they call it something else, and they do the same crap. But I wouldn't call it a cult show, but Kelly brought one up before the show, Space 1999, with half the cast of Mission Impossible, and that was a great show when I was a kid. And they played that. I think they only had like 3 or 4 seasons tops, but they played that thing, at least in New York City. It was on for like 10 years. And they just kept on replaying the episodes they had, even though it got canceled. They left it on for a long time.
I got another one from left field. And you guys remember Sledgehammer?
Yes.
Oh yeah, who's the guy?
David Rosh, wasn't that who it was?
I like Sledgehammer. That was fun.
So
This will be a cult classic. It's just started. It did get renewed for its 2nd season. It's on Adult Swim, and it's Mike Tyson Mysteries. So I don't know if you've seen this, but imagine Scooby-Doo, wherein the gang of Scooby-Doo is Mike Tyson, his adopted 18-year-old Korean daughter, the ghost of the Marquis of Queensberry, and a pigeon that can talk.
I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. That's hilarious.
It is amazing.
So you watch Adult Swim shows? Have you seen Mr. Pickles?
I have not seen Mr. Pickles.
Please watch Mr. Pickles.
Okay.
and then watch the credits at the end of Mr. Pickles. I'm not even going to give it away. Just everybody go watch any episode of Mr. Pickles, and then watch the credits at the end of Mr. Pickles.
Oh, well, give it away, Mike.
I mean, I know one that probably a lot of our SnarkALec watching are probably going to say, I've never seen it, but they got Dawn hooked on it. Lex is one that a lot of people said was could be considered probably a cult classic. It's in the sort of a vein of a Babylon 5 type, but a little bit more silly, I guess it would be, or crazy. I wouldn't be silly, but crazy, because it's kind of a serious sci-fi thing. But I think Holly's a big proponent of Lex. So
where would one watch Lex? Because it's not on Netflix.
Dawn actually, it's not on Netflix anymore. It was. That's when Dawn first discovered it. Was on Netflix. So if it's not on Netflix anymore, they must have either taken it off or whatever. Other than that, then I don't know where else you'd be able to get it. I was able to get the DVDs for her for her birthday or something last year, cheap, off of Amazon. So
Myrna's lookalike, Scott McDonald, is saying Greg the Bunny is a great cult show. I'm not anyone familiar with Greg the Bunny.
Seth Green, right? And that was Bobcat Goldthwait as the voice of the rabbit, right?
Yes.
Stuffed rabbit. Well,
Pinky and the Brain showed up on our list. I wouldn't say that has. I used to love that show. It was a little bit sick and twisted, but it was. I think it was on Cartoon Network. It was either Cartoon or Nickelodeon, but
it was. I think it started off on the WB, because that was a spin-off of Tiny Toons and the Animaniacs, and then it was that was the WB's aspect. Then it might have switched over to a Disney or something like that, or
well, it definitely wasn't Disney. I can tell you that.
Right? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't. It was Warner Brothers, but yeah, it might have been whatever Nickelodeon or whatever's affiliated with that. Laura actually mentioned one also that was on our list also. Mystery Science Theater 3000. Now, yeah, you know what?
It wasn't a TV show, okay? First of all, okay, basically, I don't know if I've ever said this publicly before. I never thought that show was funny because at the time that it was on, I was too young to smoke pot. Not that you could ever be too young to smoke pot, but, I mean, I didn't think it was funny. And here goes the problem.
So you've never watched Horrors of Spider Island, then?
I may have watched it without their commentary, but here goes the deal. Let's take a Saturday night when there's a sci-fi movie on, and we're on Twitter. Okay, we're seeing this movie for the first time, and as we're seeing this movie for the first time, we are firing out gems, and it's hysterical. Okay. I know Riff Tracks goes around the country, and basically it's Mystery Science Theater 3000 live in a theater near you. So are these guys doing things off the cuff in front of you, or do they have the whole movie scripted out that they've seen before?
I think when you said that, I think I read somewhere that they did. They had to watch it a couple times to get some of their jokes to hit, because it's I guess yeah, it's true. We have a bunch of talented people on Twitter who can just do off the cuff stuff, and maybe sometimes it's harder.
Mike's on Twitter too.
Mike's on Twitter
and
too.
Mike's on Twitter too.
But I think you're right though. I think they watched it a couple times and they nailed down what the jokes were going to be, because it had to sync up, because you really can't do that the way they're filming it. You have to sync it up so that when the scene shows up, the joke happens and it works. Because that's my problem with what my personal problem with when I do the snarking on Twitter is I come up with a great joke and I tweet it, but because I'm so freaking slow when it comes to typing, the scene is like past. It's like 2 minutes later, and then my tweet comes up, and everyone's just like, whatever. They're moving on to the next one. So it's I think they had to have synced it up somehow. Whereas with me, I have a little bit of a window where I have to type it up and send it out. That's just me though.
Again, so that's, I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from those guys. I don't need anybody to say, hey, look, this one little guy on Twitter and on G Plus is saying bad things about you. Take what I said as gospel truth, because it is, because we do stuff, and it's not just me, it's not just Kelly. There's a whole group of us that do stuff off the cuff. I would say every Saturday night, because we don't get a chance to do it every Saturday night the way we used to. But it's different, you know. A lot of people find those guys funny. I think some of the stuff they've done is amusing, but you see, whenever that show was on, I was more interested in just watching the movie, and I wanted them to shut the F up so I could watch the dumb movie that they were trying to mock the way we do. Um, and so that's my feeling on Mystery Science Theater. I mean, I know a lot of people love it. Hey, listen, if you love it, that's fine, but don't tell me how great it is, because it's almost like watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Oh, it's reality TV. Yeah, it's reality. It's real. Twitter is real. What we're doing right here now is real. I don't have any script. Anything that you hear coming out of my mouth is like I thought about like a half a second before it left my lips. So. I don't think it's a cult TV show, because it really isn't a TV show. Their portion of it anyway. Because if you take their portion and not show the movie behind them, then what they're doing is not funny. And without the movie, they've got no material. So I don't think it's, you know, I don't think that could be considered a TV show.
Now, let me tell you how much I love Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yes.
Let
Okay,
me
go ahead.
tell you how.
Now, I said when I used to watch it, when it was on first run, I was too young to smoke weed, Mike. Maybe a little bit later on, it may
You
have
were
been funny.
first off. There's no such thing as too young to smoke weed.
And I did say that.
Hear that,
too.
kids?
This episode brought to you by Subway.
Anything
Mitch-
else?
Well, Lee agrees with you. They had to rehearse it, so it had to be rehearsed. So it was rehearsed,
Of
They
course,
have-
it was a TV show.
right?
But I'd argue so was Fringe. Fringe was rehearsed.
Well, yeah, but my problem isn't with them rehearsing. It's basically people telling me how funny these guys are, and yeah, maybe they're. You want to know something? They're funny on Saturday Night Live too, and they rehearse, but it's not all ad-libbed, which is kind of what it seems like. They try and come off like what they're doing sometimes, like it's off the cuff. And you know, if you know what's coming up, and you know what they're going to say, and you've got the perfect thing lined up to say right at the right time, that's kind of cheating a little bit. You know, I'd rather read people's tweets that are coming out as I'm watching a movie than have some people talking while I'm trying to watch the movie. You know what I mean?
So just sidetrack. I know it's been a while since we've all had a chance to get together and do a lot of the live tweeting, but just kind of thinking back over the time, who do you think is the quickest wit out of that whole group? Who's the one that kind of consistently gets something in like crazy fast? My nomination will be Lisa Marie Bowman, because it just, when she locks in, man, it is there quick.
I would say Lisa, but I've also seen Dawn
Dawn's quick.
get some stuff in there. But then again, I've also seen Kelly get some things in there that were like, you know, it was almost as if I hit the, you know, refresh button, it's on the screen, and there's Kelly saying this.
Well, what I like about Kelly is that with his puns, it makes me think sometimes, because sometimes I got to think about, all right, what is he saying? And then it clicks, is like, oh, and then as soon as it clicks, it's like, my God, that's classic. And you've seen it before. I've sent you like a boo, and then I've sent like, this is classic or something like that. I sent it to you like that too.
Well, you see, one of the things that I've learned about Kelly is you have to lock into Kelly early, because Kelly almost has a theme in his tweets, like when he starts out, like if you could figure out what direction he's coming from, he'll say something, and it'll be good and it'll be funny, but you'll get it right away, because if you know what direction he's coming from, you can kind of see where he's going, and it makes sense. And every once in a while, I'll get one from Kelly where I have to sit there and I'll be like, it's not clicking, and then all of a sudden the light bulb will come out over my head and I'll get it. But Kelly is tricky. If you're not following him through his little path, you can get lost. But he takes left turns too.
Big time. We all do. We all do.
I
think
go ahead.
Lisa. I think Lisa. Dawn's a good one though. Dawn's pretty fast. Pretty fast too.
MJ
Yeah,
Khan has some good ones too. When
MJ,
he's,
and you want to know who else? Scott McDonald. Like, you could be sitting there and all of a sudden you'll just see one of his tweets and it'll be like, damn, like it'll be the simplest little observation, and it's like, that's freaking funny. I am going to say just about everybody in the SnarkALec has made me laugh out loud numerous times.
Yeah, I would agree completely with that. I mean, I think everybody does a good job, and I would definitely on Scotty. He's not like a volume guy, but man, when he hits, it's gold. It's just it's amazing. So cool. Well, I didn't mean to sidetrack us, but
Yeah, no, that was all slow.
Laura called you slow on Twitter, by the way, Dylan. FYI.
Yeah.
I saw it. It's fine. Would we consider Helix now a cult, or is it too early?
I think it has to be kind of be brought back somehow or other. And when I say be brought back, see, the thing is, with the cult TV show, we were talking about Buffy earlier. With that show, it actually picked up viewers after it was done, and they kept on showing that show. You know, it started out on one of the broadcast networks, and then it worked its way over to like USA or TNT or one of those others, and it snowballed from there. I think it's harder for a show like Helix. It really did have a cult following though, but not enough. I mean, if you're a show and you're on Sci-Fi, where is it going to go from there? Not that Sci-Fi is a bad network. I'm just saying, you know, where is it going? You know, if it's something that starts out, and shows have moved from one network to another, they've gone from broadcast to, you know, cable only.
But it's true though, you don't really see it too much. Like, say, Being Human was one of my favorite shows also. I don't see that anywhere. You don't see it on TNT or USA or Spike or whatever anymore. It was done by Sci-Fi. They own the rights to it. The only other station that might be able to air it is NBC, because I think they are co-owned by Sci-Fi, or Sci-Fi is part of
Universal.
NBC.
NBC Universal is Sci-Fi's own. Sci-Fi Annular.
Because I remember Battlestar Galactica, when it first came out, was a 3-part miniseries that showed on NBC, and then it went over to Sci-Fi and did its run on Sci-Fi. So, you know, but you're right though. I mean, yeah, I guess it has nowhere else to go, because, you know, Sci-Fi owns the rights to it, and it doesn't have enough for syndication.
Yeah. Well, also the other thing about a show like Helix is the genre that it's in. Where you can get a show maybe like Fringe that'll move from Fox, and Fox, I mean, needs to be applauded, because they do put on those off the wall type little, you know, differently skewed shows that you don't get on the other networks. They put Fringe, X-Files. I mean, there's a long list of things they've gone out and done. 24 was another example. Not that it's a cult show, but it was, you know, a show that was real time, you know, which is a concept that nobody else had tried before. And Fox went with it. And what did they do? 5 seasons, I think? 4 seasons, 5 seasons? of 24. I watched the first season, and then after that, I was like, okay, yeah, on another day like that, I can't do that. But a show like X-Files can probably go from Fox to TNT, Spike, TBS, one of those other cable channels, or it could go to Sci-Fi. And not that I want to make Sci-Fi like bottom level thing, but the only thing that a show from Sci-Fi can do is maybe move over to Chiller, you know, and then even less people can see it because Chiller is not carried by everybody, which is a kind of a problem. But sometimes the show comes out and people go out and start buying the DVDs, and someone takes notice of that, or it gets downloaded, or it gets hit up on demand. Some of these shows came out in that middle time where on demand wasn't as accessible as it is now. And so, I mean, and I'm guessing, do they count that kind of stuff? Like, I'm sure every time a show is hit up on demand, your cable provider can.
I think they're doing that now with DVRs. I don't know about on demand. I've been noticing there's like on Twitter they've got a whole bunch of like ratings, things you can follow, so like that. And they talk about, well, here's how well this show did. Like Agents of Shield did crappy in the ratings, but on the DVR end of it actually did a lot better. So that's why ABC might be sticking with it a little bit more. I mean, there's more to it than that, but I'm just giving that as an example. So I think DVRs are being used now more. I'm not exactly sure how they're able to count that, but I heard it somewhere along those lines.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I want anybody to know what I'm DVRing. This could be a totally different show, but I mean, I would think that they would prefer you to do the on-demand thing, because a lot of times when you watch a show on demand, you can't fast forward through the commercials, and usually they have the breaks in the same places, but it's only like maybe 30 seconds or 45 seconds tops. You don't get the full 2 or 3 minutes worth of ads in the middle. During the breaks, but you can't fast forward through them, where I prefer DVR because I could just fast forward through stuff, and I would just think that the network would rather say, hey, listen, Mr. Customer, I can put your advert here, and it's going to be on demand, and they can't fast forward it, so they will be forced to watch the commercial. Even if they want to pause the show to get up to go to the bathroom, they still cannot fast forward through it. Where DVR, and if I want to DVR a show, why should they keep track of that?
I mean, as I said, I could have been wrong, but I thought I heard that maybe it is on demand. I was mixing it up with. I'm not exactly sure, but I know there's something that they are connecting now with, not just with the initial ratings that you get on the TV.
So, Mike, I'm going to assume on your DVR list, most of the titles are either redacted or in acrylic. And so how do you actually navigate your DVR list to select things? Is it more by memory to know that's when the show is on? Or
it's tough because obviously there's a lot of Ellen on there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would have guessed that would have been top of your list.
Well,
so
Ellen...
I don't know if you guys use the YouTube app on your phone often, but I'll go on there and just randomly throughout the day when I'm at the office, I'll put something on and listen to it. And usually it's a podcast about typically cryptocurrency or governments falling apart and conspiracy theories and all kinds of weird stuff. So the next day I'll go on and try and find something, and it'll give me my top 10 recommendations. So the first one will be how to overthrow the government, and then the next one will be Ellen dancing. And
which is how you overthrow the government, by the way.
And then it'll be something about cryptocurrency or something, or security or something. Then Ellen talks to this person. And inevitably every single day, at least half of my recommendations are clips from the Ellen show.
It's similar with me too. With when we got our new phones, our old phones, they didn't take them, so we let our kids look at them, so they've been able to access YouTube. My son has my old one, so I go to my recommendations. It's all these ones about toys. It's like Imaginext stuff, Batman and stuff, and Minecraft, Batman and Robin. It's all my recommendations now because he watches it so much.
Don't even get me started on Minecraft.
So, is there anything else, Tony?
I'm just taking a quick browse through, because I'm thinking, does a show have to be? Obviously, there's a couple, but like Doctor Who is a current show, and I would definitely consider that cult. Anything Star Trek, I would definitely consider cult. But does it have to be? Can it be a cult TV show and still be on? Or does it? I mean, because I mean,
So Family Guy. Is Family Guy popular or is Family Guy cult?
well, see, like Family Guy and Simpsons. I mean, they really do have a strong audience. I mean, they're still on. I think only because of their longevity. Both of those shows. I mean, South Park. It could be considered a cult TV show because they do. I mean, every cartoon show breaks the rules and stuff. But I almost want to say because of their longevity, they probably have put themselves out. I mean, they may have started out with a cult following and grown.
I think the movie pushes them out of the cult thing, though, too.
Well, Firefly had a movie.
Yeah, but the South Park movie made a ton of money and was nominated for an Academy Award.
And The Simpsons was like one of the top grossing ones of the year.
And then with Family Guy, though, you might want to think about. I mean, I don't particularly like Family Guy, but it started off, it didn't do that well, and it was brought back after another year or so, I guess, because of, once again, along the lines of people were clamoring to have it come back, and they made it back.
Blood.
Yeah, in blood, yes, and DNA. And Futurama is the same way, because Futurama's on this list also. Futurama was in
Futurama
and out also.
Futurama, I would consider, and American Dad, which is not as popular as Family Guy and Simpsons. That could almost be considered cultish.
There are no Mike Tyson mysteries, is all I gotta say.
But I'll tell you, I mean, maybe the next time we get together, we could talk about shows that shouldn't be on TV, and I don't understand why they're on TV.
Ghost Hunters.
Because you can watch her on YouTube. Ellen, get rid of her.
You know what? I'm gonna have to start watching Ellen, because obviously, like, if based on what I watch, that's being recommended to me. Obviously, I've misunderstood what the Ellen show is. Like, there's some dark, weird shit on that show, and I've just been missing out all this time.
Oh, that you just reminded me. I know of a good because Jeremy Piven was on Ellen. His show Cupid. They brought it back a couple years ago with a whole new cast, but the original Cupid with Jeremy Piven only lasted one season. That was actually excellent. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one.
Nope. Not even a guess of what it's about.
Jeremy Piven plays a mental patient who believes that he's the god of love, Cupid, and he believes that the only way he can go back to Mount Olympus or whatever is if he is able to connect like 100 couples or something like that. So he plays a matchmaker trying to matchmake just local people in New York City, but he's in his Jeremy Piven-esque hyperactivity, crazy, snarky type of way he does it. And
you had me at Jeremy Piven in a loincloth.
And then there was the female. I want to say the female was oh geez, I just lost her name. She was just she's in I can't think of it right now. Wayward Pines right now. What's her name? The Matt Dillon's former partner.
Kate. Kate.
Yeah, the former partner. I forgot the actress has been in the Spy Kids movies and was in San Andreas with The Rock and was in
And She
Watchmen.
Creature, which is this awesome movie about a mermaid that me and my wife love. You
I
should
can't
watch
remember. It's horrible. I can't remember her name, but I think she was in that as well as like his caseworker or something like that. So that was actually a good show. I like that as a.
So I just want to clarify for Cupid, he was wanting to connect 100 couples, but not human caterpillar, correct? Not,
Oh yeah, no,
not human centipede connect. Didn't human centipede connect. This is more
No, it'd be like
must love
there's-
dogs connect. Just to
Yeah,
make sure.
that
Okay.
type of thing. Yeah,
All right.
goes around and says, oh, there's a guy who obviously likes this girl, but she's ignoring him. Let's get them together, because they belong together.
Sew them together.
So
That would be
just to interject really quick, how many of you watched Pushing Daisies?
I did love
Okay.
that show.
I
know
did
what it
not.
is. I didn't
I-
either.
Very frustrated that did not last. 'Cause that was really unfortunate. And
That was a
Reaper,
really good show.
I enjoyed Reaper too, and it.
Reaper's a good one too. That's another good one. I enjoyed that.
Ray Weiss is now completely the devil to me. Basically, I see him in anything else. It's like, oh, good, look, the devil's a general. Oh, good. Look.
See, and that might be one of the reasons why, because I've watched a lot of shows that, like Millennium,
Another good
and,
one.
and Dollhouse, and a whole bunch of other shows that
Todd in the Book of Pure Evil.
I love that show, even though I never saw it.
It's a great show. You're seriously missing out.
But I mean, I hate liking a show and then them taking it away, and so that's why I really don't like to get into too much new stuff, because there's a show on now, the Last Ship. Okay, I don't know how long the show is going to last, but it seems they've got maybe this season, and maybe they could do another season. I don't think it should go any further than that. Not that it's a bad show, but where the whole premise of the show was, hey, they're the only battleship out there, and they got the cure for this virus that's killing like 99% of the population of the world. Okay, so now they've got the cure, and they're distributing the cure. Okay, so after you distribute the cure, where do you go from there? Unfortunately, last week I read an article because I was trying to find out if this season of Under the Dome was going to be the last, because I am checking out after this season whether it's still on or not. And actually, when it came back, it had a 2-hour premiere, and it was pretty damn good, Dill. It was pretty damn good. I was like, satisfying. And then last week, they friggin' let me down again. They did move the story over a little bit, but it looks like bullshit. But I read something from the writers, and they said, we could keep this going for 18 or 19 years. And I was like, really? First of all, the show, this is its 3rd season, so it's 3 years since they started. Okay. In Dome time, 3 weeks have gone by. If they keep this show up for 13 years, some of the teenage actors that are in this show are going to have grandkids by the time this show is over. So, they got to end it soon. I don't know how much long Defiance has got. I am just a little bit scared, but they're getting away with it. Last week's episode with Stama, oh my God, she's practically naked in the show, and it's
Tell
on
me
at
more
8
about
o'clock.
this.
Dude, you have to watch Defiance. You have to watch Defiance. Jamie Murray is unbelievable in this show. And I'm watching it, and my brother-in-law happened to be here, and he was watching with me, and he's like, is she wearing anything? Is this porn? I was like, yeah, she's got clothes on, dude, look. Holy crap.
I like that your family members think you would put porn on around them.
Look at this freeze frame that I've had up for the last 10 minutes. You can clearly see there's a little piece of clothing right there.
Yes.
I know one of our favorites is a finite, The Strain, which starts up on Sunday. Season 2 starts up on Sunday. They've already said, look, there's only 3 books in the series, and they say we can probably get maybe 4 seasons out of everything. So that one's got a finite ending, which is good to know, because that way then you get a beginning, middle, and end. What you're going to get. So it's just going to go along for the ride as long as, FX says, hey, you know what, let's just continue. That was a problem with, I don't know if any of you guys saw Carnival on HBO.
Yes.
It pissed me off so much because that was one of the first shows that Dawn and I really got into together. And it was supposed to be a 3-season story because they had a distinct way they were going to go. I mean, they had mentioned it before like that. They canceled after the 2nd season, and I was like, come on, man, really? I mean, it was set up to be a 3-season one. Can't you for just a little bit, just dig into your pockets for 18 more episodes just so we can get the final battle between good and evil that I want to see. Tony, you probably would like Carnival. It's actually pretty interesting. You might be for you to look up.
Right now, and I'm really, really pissed that Helix is not coming back, because that show, I mean, I loved it because let's take the science and let's just push the science aside of whatever they were doing. Okay,
Are you saying that wasn't scientifically accurate?
I would say, to my knowledge, I really didn't give a shit about the science because it was a pretty good story. I loved the characters and the way they told the story, especially, I mean, if there was not a wacky music moment, and I think there was only one episode that really didn't have a big wacky music moment in it. It was just, that show would start and I would smile from start to finish between watching people's tweets and watching the shows and just seeing what was going on and Sister Amy and the stuff that was going on last season. It was just awesome. I mean, and I just, there is no show that's going to come close to that in a show that I really, really look forward to watching because
a super interactive cast on Twitter. I mean,
and
most of the main people were there and would interact with you during the show.
Yeah, and you got to say, hands down, and I'm just wondering whether or not they knew that they had to try and get interactive. They tried to had to work up a buzz. I mean, I love that show. The Strain is unbelievably good. It's up there with the way that the show is produced, the way they're telling the story. From start to finish, I wouldn't be able to say a bad thing about that show. It's up there with The Walking Dead, up there with Game of Thrones. Wayward Pines is pretty damn good too. Unfortunately, it's on Thursdays, and I missed it tonight, but it's being DVR'd. And Under the Dome. Sorry about that. Missed that one too. I'll catch up. You see, I'm gonna have so much stuff to catch up on.
Yeah, but Dylan, I'm not going to watch Carnival because that sounds vaguely French. So.
That was an HBO show?
I respect your patriotism, Kelly.
Thank you.
Yeah, it took place in the 1920s in the Dust Bowl of Kansas, and it was about a guy who discovers he has the power to, kill, right? He could, or grow, to bring stuff to life. So he could bring stuff to life, and he ends up hooking up with a traveling circus that's going through the town. There's all kinds of weird ass characters, stuff like that. Meanwhile, there is
from France, probably.
Yeah, well, no, not from France. Yeah. No, there was a preacher played by Clancy Brown, who is one of the greatest actors of our generation right now. I love Clancy Brown, and he was the preacher who he and his sister, who was I forget the actress name, but she's the one who was Kevin Costner's wife in Field of Dreams, Amy Madigan. They were brother and sister, but that was somewhat incestuous in that as well. And he was an evil like Preacher type of thing, and so it was a
French.
show. It was not French, Kelly.
French Canadian preacher.
Just admit it, he had you at somewhat incestuous.
And then I said French. You know?
It was just the battle between good and evil, and it was just dark, and it was just filmed in that grainy Dust Bowl type of French-esque cinema verite type of style.
See, I told you. I'll be watching that either.
And it, like Dylan said, it has Clancy Brown, which is enough of a reason to watch it.
It was a great, and I think Tony, you would probably dig it also.
And to loop that back around, Clancy Brown does a voice in SpongeBob. And Tony brought up SpongeBob in the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Carnival. So it was only 2 seasons during the.
Should have been 3. It should have been 3 because they had the story progressing to what they wanted to do in a 3rd season, and HBO said, "Fuck it."
Well,
do a search on France on that page.
Okay. Well, if you have Amazon Prime, Kelly, you can watch it for free.
I have a soul.
I'm dead next week, Kelly.
I've chosen to keep my soul. So.
You're gonna miss Prime Day.
People who liked Carnival also liked Deadwood. So, I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, we'll see. Listen, before we go, I would throw out, if you do have Netflix and you've got some time, there's not a lot of episodes. I would say Jericho, good show, and it has Morgan is in it. He plays one of the main characters, Morgan from The Walking Dead. Lenny James, that's his name, right? Is in that show, and amazing because you can't tell the guy's a Brit. And at the last episode, there is, enough of the story, and they ended at a spot where it's like, okay, I'm fine with it. The story could have gone on, and it would have been great if they could have got a couple more seasons in, but it was, from start to finish, pretty good,
I know it's not quite the same thing, Tony, but IDW, a comic company who likes to buy up a lot of TV licenses, they did a 3rd season in
comics
format.
Yes, I did read that, and that was one of the things, like I said, how I got into the cult TV thing. The TV show thing was I did some research on it, and I saw that they had finished the story in comic form. So I may seek that out at some point and see if I can, just get the rest of the story. But it was great. It was a great show. And I was just looking for more stuff to watch, and I said, if there's more stuff like Jericho, I want to, latch onto it and watch. And like I told you guys, I started watching Doctor Who. I'm into season 3 now with Martha. So, and I'm enjoying it. And
maybe we can chat about that next month.
Oh well, I'm not going to be done.
Well, I'm not either. I'm stuck on the 4th season right now. So.
Wow!
Yeah.
I just started watching like 2 weeks ago. I've been knocking back. Well, there's nothing on TV I want to watch. Like, I don't watch anything Monday through Thursday, and now on Thursdays I'm watching Wayward Pines and Under the Dome, and Wayward Pines is almost done. There's only a couple episodes left because it's only a 10 episode season from start to finish, and it's supposed to be a one and done. And M. Night Shyamalan is doing a very good job with it, So if you're not watching it, you should catch up and watch it to the end because it's a great show. But
don't let the fact that M. Night Shyamalan's involved chase you away.
No, actually, you should run to it at this point.
Not French, by the way.
It's not French. He's not. Definitely not French. The French may be behind Under the Dome.
Season
not
3,
sure.
4, 5 they are. There's no doubt.
Face Off
yeah,
is coming back.
Face Off is coming back too. Definitely no French involvement in that show, as far as I know.
So Space Hop basically would just start to run 7x24 like QVC at this point, just be this one massive constant contest. Boy, seems like it's on a lot.
I think it's on for like 3 months. Then it's off for 3. Then it's on for 3 and off for 3. It's a popular show, and
it's fun.
Yeah, I like it. I can sit and watch it with my kids, and they enjoy it. And a lot of the people that are involved in that are very vocal on Twitter, which is kind of nice.
And not French. Not one of them, which is pretty awesome.
So right now, there's nothing on that I'm watching except for The Last Ship on Sunday. Soon, The Strain next weekend is the Strain.
No, Sunday is this Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have Comedy Central on your cable network package, right, Tony?
Yes, I do.
So you can go to their website and see their on-demand content.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so then you can go watch Mike Tyson Mysteries, which you probably need to do immediately after the show. 10 episodes, first episode.
Probably not, because I'm a little bit tired tonight. So I think instead of even watching, because I've been watching at least an episode of Doctor Who every night, I'm probably going to forego that tonight and just go right to...
First episode, you get to hear Mike repeatedly say chupacabra, and has a very hard time with it. It's not a good word for him. So.
We'll have to check that out. Also, San Diego Comic-Con is going on. Tomorrow is Season 6 Walking Dead trailer is going to be released, so we'll be able to get our first look at the new season of Walking Dead. They've been shooting pictures out here and there. And I'm really hoping, because this is starting to piss me off a little bit, is I hope they reveal the date of when Fear the Walking Dead's coming out in August. So far as you're saying August. Well, August is a big month.
Well, okay, so now that you're talking about August, when are we doing the next news?
Because I will be on vacation. Let me just set my calendar real quick, because I will be on vacation the first week. So we can do it 13th.
13th.
That works for you. Yep.
Okay. Let me see. 13th. Well, that's Monday, is the third. Oh no, that's July. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I have to move my calendar to August 13th. Yeah. Okay.
Because I'll be down at the Outer Banks the 2nd through the 9th. So.
And okay. So, is any other details you want to give out there, Dylan?
No.
Because Myrna keeps on asking me where I'm going, what I'm doing, and it's nobody's business where I'm going. I might be going alone. My whole family might be going. There might be somebody in my house. There might not be. There might be a cop car parked in front of it. I don't know.
I'm going shark hunting.
Not going to talk about it on the show. I'm not going to talk about it on Twitter. I'm not going to DM anybody with my itinerary, okay?
I'm going shark hunting.
Condoms filled with heroin. That's all you need to know.
That's right.
I think
the webcam running.
there's a bigger danger out there, and that is the Portuguese man of war.
Which is French.
Actually, I think it might be Portuguese, but that's just me. I mean, but then again, I've had French fries, and they're not French. They're Idaho potatoes, and
they're freedom fries.
Yeah, it's a good job. They found they talked about it on the news for a couple of days. They must have seen one or two, because they were talking about jellyfish, and usually around here in August is when you have to worry about jellyfish, and we can talk about shark attacks for a second, but some guy pulled one in, so they, all the news channels picked it up. Look up Portuguese man of war. It was one fucking jellyfish. Give me a friggin' break. And now, at least every week, earlier this week, there was a big sunfish spotted off the Jersey coast, and they thought it was a shark, so they cleared everybody out of the water because of the shark attacks that are happening down in the Carolinas, 300 or 400 miles away, 500 miles away.
And let's be honest, who cares about them?
But the thing is, this is before we go. Think about this.
Carolina to France or the United States.
Yeah, France. It's the French Pacific. They on almost every other news story, they will say, "Do you know that you are more likely to get struck by lightning than you are to be attacked by the shark? Which is an interesting topic, an interesting statement to make, except I can flip that around and say, how many people in Kansas have been attacked by sharks? In Kansas. Not how many people from Kansas went to the Outer Banks and got attacked by a shark. But I'm sure the chances are people in Kelly's neck of the woods or out in Oklahoma really don't have to walk out their house and worry about getting attacked by a shark. But they walk out there in a thunderstorm, they could get struck by lightning. Me, on the other hand, I can go to the Jersey Shore, be swimming around in a thunderstorm, and I have to worry about A, getting struck by lightning, and B, getting attacked by a shark. Or C, getting struck by lightning while a shark is attacking me. Something that somebody walking down the street in Kansas doesn't have to worry about getting attacked by a shark. I'm just saying. So don't tell me I'm more likely to get struck by lightning than I am to be getting attacked by a shark, because there's a big piece of the population that doesn't live anywhere near where sharks are and have to worry about them. So go screw yourself, News. Okay.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah?
It's more likely you can get hit by lightning than bit by a shark, and I like Mystery Science Theater. It's really funny.
Okay. Oh, that was fun though. So and that's it. So that's where we're at for occult TV shows. Hey, you can go to the suggestion or the complaint department, and if you want to suggest shows that maybe should be cult shows, put them up there and we'll post them up. But don't forget, you'll be hearing from Mike, Kelly, and Dylan on Twitter as far as what's going on for Snark Week, which was announced early in the show. There's going to be a whole week of Snark starting on the 18th of July. There's going to be a whole bunch of different shows after every movie that Sci-Fi shows, except for, I'm going to say, if there's a 7 o'clock movie premiering and a 9 o'clock movie right after that, there's only going to be one show after the 9 o'clock movie, which would end at 11 Eastern, 10 Kelly time. And that will go on every night, except for Thursday and Friday, correct?
And Tuesday.
And Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And maybe you people can all get together and decide maybe if everybody wants to do the same avatar or something for Sharknado 3 on Wednesday. You know, you can run that through Kelly and Dylan, and everybody can sync up and figure that out, because I am going to be indisposed. I'm going to be off Twitter for a couple of days, and when I come back, I'll be back. So, Mike does fireside chats where?
Where do I do them?
Yes.
Where can you get them?
Where can you get them? Where do you do them?
By a fire.
By fire. It's in the name, Tony.
Okay.
You can get it on iTunes, you can get it on Podbean, or you can listen to it on Loud and Loaded.
Okay, and Kelly can be seen and heard. Well, actually, yeah. Well, you could be seen on YouTube eventually, right? But heard on
Nurture and Support. So you can get us on iTunes. We now are putting all the episodes out on YouTube as well, and Stitcher, all that good stuff. As well as Bring Out Your Geek. Jeans and I are reviewing Walking Dead comic books on a issue-by-issue basis. So,
okay.
amongst other things. There's lots of other things Bring Out Your Geek does. But
so, and that's Nurture and Support with Melissa, and Bring Out Your Geek with Jeans and Bronwyn. And Dylan, besides the infamous Dylan Knows, since this isn't SnarkALec Radio or anything like that, what's going on with the assistant? Which could be a cult YouTube show.
It could be a cult YouTube show.
I still think we need Dylan and Gary reviewing one of these movies. It would be gold. But yeah, I think Tony's right. Dylan will be able to speak again.
Yeah, well, we'll check it out. That I want to get back to it. It's just right now is just a bad time for me, work related and other stuff going on. But I definitely need to get the move out, the let out, because I'm going to miss my window if I'm not lucky. So hopefully maybe this weekend I'll be able to just set some stuff aside, maybe on Sunday, whatever, and just film like a bunch of episodes and release them periodically.
You know what would be really cool, Dylan?
Well,
When
it'd
you
be
come
really cool,
back?
Kelly.
Well, coming back, I know a lot of times when I watch things and they come back, a lot of times their first episode or two back, they have a special, long-anticipated guest star on the show. You might want to think about that. Please float that out there.
I don't know. I may have to edit them out a little bit. We'll see. Well, as I said, we'll get some. It's right now. I want to get to it. It's just right now it's out of my reach right now. But Dylan knows we'll be back on Saturday. Sunday I got stuff going on, so I won't be able to do Sunday. So Saturday night I'll be solo on myself. Saturday 9 o'clock. So. And I will get back to you guys with assistant news as soon as I get some. Okay?
There's no movie on this Saturday, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I didn't even look, to tell you the truth, because I think I'm going to be doing something Saturday night, so I don't know. What happened to the Sharknado contest? I don't know, Lee. I didn't actually. Is it on the website when they were going to announce their winner? I thought they were going to announce the winner around the time when the movie was going to premiere. So I haven't heard anything. So at this point, I'm going to say we didn't win. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. If you can give me 1 second before we get out of here. Blah, 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 blah. On July 22nd, the official Sharknado campaign, all submissions are eligible for the official film and other media. One first prize winner. When is the first prize winner? Do they say when it's going to be? Complete the submission, general description, procedures, blah, blah, blah. And eligibility. And prizes. Prizes will be awarded promptly to contest winners. Okay, it doesn't say.
Promptly.
It says promptly. Prizes will be awarded.
That does not bode well for us.
Prizes will be awarded promptly to contest winners when available, provided they certify and establish to agents' satisfaction that they have complied with the official rules and signed all necessary releases and any other forms as determined by the agent. Local taxes. And does not say anything about when the prize will be awarded. Entrance must be 13. It might be in here somewhere, but I don't see anything about a date. So I have not been notified by email or otherwise that SnarkALec have won. So at this point.
Best think we didn't.
You want to know something? It was only $250, and then they take out taxes. So then we'd have to figure a way of divvying that up between everybody who participated in it. And I was just thinking, just send the money over to Kelly and have him send everybody out a shirt. That's it. SnarkALec on it. You know, that would be the only way to do anything to, award everybody who helped out in the thing. Either that or I can
helped out and knew we won. Just to narrow the field a little there. But it was a good effort. It was a fun thing to put together, that's for sure. So you guys did a great job.
Yeah, well, next time we'll do it. If there is a next time. we'll do it better than we did, I guess. But that's it for the snooze tonight. If you're looking for topics, the topic is going to stay up there, and we'll do it next time, I guess. So, good night, everybody. Happy snarking, and we will see you on, I guess, August 13th, or maybe before. Who knows? And you'll see the rest of these guys. Bye, Mike.
Bye, guys.
See ya.